Oh my gosh.
Come on. Oh, eat it. Yes!
Nice trout, baby. Oh! If I catch a fish like this, I ain't gonna do it. No way! Are the Salt Strong Smart Spots actually accurate? As someone who uses them literally 4 times a week, I have quite a bit to say. And although, yes, they can be accurate, they can be leaving a lot of information off the table. That's something we're gonna talk about. I did make a full in-depth review of the entire Salt Strong program because it's much more than the Smart Spots. Although the Smart Spots does seem to be their main selling point and what most people are interested in, it's the discounts and tackle. It's mostly the free education in the core system they have. And they do weekly fishing reports all in your areas, basically telling you exactly how to fish your area every single week, which is really cool. But the Smart Spots is what gets the most attention. Now, when you sign up, just like I did, they give you all sorts of free stuff. They give you, I think, a pack of paddle tails, shrimp, regular jig heads, weedless hooks, this hat, braid cutting scissors, all sorts of fun stuff. And I actually do have a YouTube link in the description if you do want to check it out by the end of this video. And it's going to give you 28 days free. It's a completely free trial. You can explore the Smart Spots. You can explore the entire Insider Salt Strong Club for yourself. And I think I have another link down there where you can get the 7-pack of paddle tails that I used to catch a lot of fish on this channel. Overall, it's a great program, but I do have quite a bit to say about the Smart Spots. So with the intro out of the way, let's jump into the computer. I'm going to give you an overview, and then I'm going to talk about some of the good things, some of the not so good things, the multiple versions that they don't actually kind of tell you that they have all the time, and just all the details that you need to know about these Smart Spots, and really if they're that accurate as they claim they are. Okay, so if you've not seen my full-length review and you're not totally familiar with what the Smart Spots is, it's basically a combination of an AI algorithm that takes into account a lot of information, including wind direction, wind speed, tidal movement, seasonal patterns, position of the sun in the sky, literally everything. It's an AI algorithm. It combines all this information. It also works alongside with actual professional fishermen every single day, giving their reports and doing all sorts of stuff like that. So it is actually a really cool system. But here's a brief overview. So these are the Smart Spots. All these things coming up right here. You click this, it gives you the Smart Spot key, hot, great, good, fair, and then you can zoom in and change different times. So the heat of the day, although it's good tidal movement, it's just so hot, you're not going to have the best bite. It gives you feeding scores. So if you can find a day with a good strike score, so let's say Sunday and Monday is 9, that's a really good strike score. You do that, you say, all right, the best feeding time is from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. That is a really high strike score, and that is a really good feeding score. So now, from there, you can hit X, and you can see where the hot zones are. And you can say, okay, this is going to be a hot zone. It's a high feeding score, it's a high strike score, and this is a red hot zone. And then you can move around, and there's all sorts of different spots like that. Obviously, West Bay is absolutely lit up this time of year. And so that's the first thing we're going to talk about is basically just the overall accuracy. And yes, it is accurate, but it does miss a lot of spots. And if you want a little secret to be able to see more spots, almost double the spots, stay tuned because I am about to show you how you can see way more of this on a completely different version for free here in the program. But let's say for a fact, I know I'm not gonna exactly point out which spots are which, but I can tell you some of the red spots are without a doubt you will catch a good fish. I mean, this stuff is really accurate, but that doesn't mean it's the only places fish are. That's the thing with the Smart Spots program. It's mostly for inshore flats fishermen. It's not really for bottom fishing, offshore fishing. They're mostly saying you're going to catch the main inshore species. They're talking about redfish, flounder, trout, snook, which we don't really have up here. But you're not going to, it's not going to track every type of fishing, every type of species. It's just not for that. It's very focused on inshore, mostly flats fishing. As you can see, most of the spots are in the flats, as you can tell by moving around. So I just want to make that very clear that just because, you have a spot that is very good and it's not lit up, that is a thing. For example, where we run our kayak charter and we get on the most bull red within the whole city, is not lit up at all. And our second favorite spot to produce the best and most fish are also not lit up. It is lit up, but it's not as much. So although it is going to show you where you can pretty much guarantee you're going to have a great day on the water and you're going to catch a lot of fish, it doesn't tell you everywhere. So here's something that we can do to kind of fix that a little bit. So if you click the toolbar right here, you click tools, you see Smart Fishing Spots version 1. You see right now we're in version 2. Now, if you go to version 1, it looks totally different. And now this smart fishing spots, compared to version 2, kind of is not that good. As you can see, it's totally different. You're not going to get nearly as much information. And you go in and you hit these smart spots. But here is why I like it. Although the interface, it's laggier, it's just not as good of a system. As you can see, there are a lot more spots lit up, which is really cool. So once you go in here, and even like picking the tides and all that stuff, it's just flat out not that good of a system. But the smart spots do show you more spots, which is really cool. So, I'll check these someday. So as you can see, it's replicating what we just saw, except it's adding in a lot more red spots. So if you go into here, let's see. Let's match them up the exact same day. Friday at 7 a.m. Then we'll go to Friday at 7 a.m. And we're going to look and we're going to compare. Check this out. You see those spots? Now you see these, a lot more color, and you've even got some real accurate spots, including this little blob out here, this little blob right there. So it's a little bit of a hack to get even more spots. Now, I don't know why they don't include all of these in version 1, but I have tested this myself. So for example, I know for a fact that this bayou right here, that is, it does come up sometimes on this map, but not as much in this flat right here. Like I know for a fact this bayou in these flats all up and around here, like kind of giving away a spot here, but is really, really good. In fact, most of the time I fish, I'm, in similar areas like that. But on here, it shows nothing. Well, it does show here. So as you can see, there is a little something you could do to get more out of your smart fishing spots. And even like this right here is all lit up red. Like there was no red anywhere near here on the version 2. So this is kind of an interesting little thing. Although these spots do produce, so do these spots. So that's what's kind of cool about it, is that you can go back into version 1 and see other spots. And I've tested it. I know for an absolute fact. In fact, one of my best days was right on this point. It's just on the channel here, and I had another phenomenal day. I got some keeper trout, some flounder, all up in here. I know there's plenty of redfish. I couldn't get them to eat. All I had was artificial paddle tails and shrimp, really, and they weren't wanting that. But I know for a fact that these smart spots work, and I'm not just talking about this area. I do it all over the city. So let's talk about another smart spot. I'm not going to give away all my freaking spots, but like let's say, right here. The boat ramp is over here. I used my trolling motor, get all the way down here, and I went here and I caught multiple species right here. This was a great day just coming down to this flat right here. It was all right over here, but this was really lit up. Now, what's interesting is even outside of this. So let me go back to version 2 just because it's a little bit clearer here. Just because it says that this is the red hot zone, it could be left or right. So as you can see, that one's covered. Let me find a better example. So for example, right here, I've not fished this particular spot, but let's say it's lit up red right here. Well, I've noticed that you could fish it and you might not find any fish, but they could be over here, or they could be up in here, or maybe even up in here. So the red spots, you're probably going to catch some fish, but maybe the best fishing is actually over here today or over there, because there's a lot of different factors that come into play. So although it is pretty accurate, it could be a little bit off, which is totally fine. It's just kind of giving you a ballpark. Now let's talk about the fact that a lot of people say that the spots never change. And I've been on this program long enough to know that the spots, they mostly stay the same, but you gotta wonder, why do they stay the same? Now, seasonal patterns, things change, and I know for a fact that these spots move around and stuff like that. But for the summer, it's mostly been all of the same. So let's talk about how, for example, these are always lit up. Why? Well, because there's a choke point right here, lots of current. You could see the grass flats, and it's even more of a choke point going into these canals. So you're wondering like, oh my gosh, like these spots never stay. Do these actually work? Well, it's like, no, you got to realize why these spots are working. Here's a point right here, quick depth change with a nice grass flat and all stuff like that. I mean, it all makes a difference. They're not just pointing spots and leaving them. I mean, if the fish are there, the fish are there. So that is one complaint I've seen about the Smart Spots app. Is that the spots never change. But if you go to the spots, they always got fish on them. Now, what's really cool is they actually teach you how to use this on your own. So, half the time when I go out, if I am filming a video and I just really flat out need to get on fish, if I'm just making a talking video about my boats or whatever, and I just need to catch a bunch of fish during my video just to make it that much cooler, then I'll go to a red spot. If I'm taking someone that doesn't usually fish, or if I'm just taking someone out on the boat, you know, even my wife, then I'm probably just going to go to a red zone or a spot where I know was a red zone and that they're still holding fish just to get on some good fish. Simple as that. You know, I have not been skunked on the water, and man, I have not been skunked on any sort of vessel, kayak, boat, man, it's been a long time. It's been months. It's been months. It's been months since I've only caught one fish. You know, the only time I might catch one fish if we're fishing for bull reds on the bottom. So yeah, I really don't get skunked that often. It's been a long time, which is part and due, you know, of course, to this map, but all the education that they have for you. So let's turn off smart spots. And you can turn on the 1 foot contour lines, which is super, super cool. They just added the weather radar, which I think is awesome. Should be really clear today, actually. You've got all sorts of stuff down here. You've got the tide stations. You've got launch spots for kayaks, which I think is super, super cool. You have insider spots. So club members who want to show off their spots and tell other members like where they're catching fish. You've also got community spots over here. The community spots go crazy. And actually a lot of those spots, not a lot of them, but I've posted probably 5 or 6 spots myself for the community. It also shows you where the grass flats are, which is pretty freaking crazy. So as you can see, simply combining the contour line, showing you nice depth changes. You got a choke point here. It's like, oh, now I see why this area is so good. There's a bridge right here, tons of grass flats. And you know, this is all grass flats right here, and it's only kind of pulling little spots, which is okay. It's not completely accurate, of course. But you also show oyster beds, boat ramps. Boat ramps is huge. I love being able to see all the boat ramps. I've learned about so many ramps in my area that are awesome, and it's completely replaced my favorite boat ramps just by having all these options. Look at that. That's crazy. They also show you artificial reef, public lands if you're land-based fishermen, private land, and so forth. But the courses they have a course specifically on how to get the most out of this map without using smart spots, and that's really where this map shines. When you can find your own maps and not have to rely on the smart spots or any sort of technology on that end, you can literally just use your own wits, look at this, know the patterns yourself by going through their courses, and you can make the decisions yourself to never get skunked again. Now listen, before I had Salt Strung, before I had this map, before I had their education, all that stuff, I caught 0 fish for 4 months, and now I'm talking about how I haven't been skunked, and I can't even remember. Now I get skunked if I'm land-based fishing. I still will get skunked every once in a while if I'm just on my feet. If it's too windy, I'm too lazy to take a boat out, or if I'm just doing something else and want to mix it up, then I still do. But if you have access to this map and their information and a kayak at the very least, I mean, there's no reason to really get skunked. You just pull up to the spot, cast, and you're going to catch. I mean, as long as the presentation's right and all that stuff. There's more to it, obviously. It's fishing. So let me bring this all around. Are the smart spots accurate? Absolutely. Is it an end-all, be-all? Absolutely not. There are so many more good spots. Like I said, my 2 favorite spots of all time aren't even lit up on this map, which is pretty sweet in my opinion. But the thing is they give you all the resources to figure out where the spots are in your city, which is super, super cool. And I'm telling you, even the weekly reports, the weekly game plans, I think they call them the weekend game plans. They come out every Friday, and they have a ton of different sections for different parts of the country. And of course, there is a Panhandle and Big Bend section. So they have a weekend report that goes for the entire Panhandle, and they alternate. Sometimes they're zooming in on Navarre, sometimes they're zooming in on Destin, and there's some weeks where they literally zoom in on Panama City at my favorite boat ramp, and they tell you exactly what to do, and I do it, and I catch fish, and it doesn't get any more personal than that. Overall, I absolutely love smart spots. We've covered how accurate they are, how to get the most out of it, and how to get a little secret extra function to get some more spots that don't always show up in version 2. I highly recommend it. You should use the links in my description just to try it out for free. Give that free trial a go. I can almost guarantee you're going to want to sign up by the end of it, but you can also get those free paddle tails, and when you do sign up, you get that big bundle I was talking about with the shrimp, the paddle tails, the braid cutting scissors, the hat, all that fun stuff. I hope this helped you out, and I hope I answered some questions about the accuracy of this app. Of course, I'm on the browser. It is an app on your phone. I have it on my phone, I have it on my iPad, and I also have this website pinned to my home screen as well. But I hope I answered some questions, hope I helped you out, and I will see you next time. Tight lines and God bless.